Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to another daily dice where we ask the dice their message and find out what that is. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. I've got the hiccups. And for those of you new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. If you are truly new here, we do things completely differently on this channel, so I suggest strapping in, hanging on, and you and I are going to find out together. And should the messages resonate along the way, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. With that today, I got a channel message that your enemies have severely underestimated you, and we're going to find out what Source wants to say about that. We're going to be using the messages from your Animal Spirit Guides by Stephen D. Farmer. I absolutely love this deck. I don't bring it out enough. Of course, you've heard me say that about plenty of my decks, but it's true. At one point, you get so many decks, you can't bring them all out, and then you miss the ones that you can't bring out. That's just how it goes. So, with that, Source, my fellow humans, their enemies severely underestimated them. What would you like to share with them now about being severely underestimated by these enemies? What Animal Spirit Oracle Guide will help us understand that this message that you would wish to come through? What Animal Spirit Oracle will help us better understand my fellow humans were severely underestimated by their enemies, and what would you like to share with them now? Okay, thank you. On the bottom, look at that. We've got Peacock. Of course we do. Let yourself stand out and be noticed. Stand out above the crowd, even if I have to shout out loud. Tonight is the only thing we'll see. You're gonna stand out till you notice me. That's it. You're standing out. They underestimated you. They thought that they could make you feel small. They thought that they could make you feel unheard. They thought that they could make you feel unseen. And no matter how much they tried to oppress you or to hurt you, you still stood out. You're still being seen by people and people who find value with who you are. Alright, Source, what else would you like to tell my fellow humans about this? Their enemies severely underestimated them. What messages do you have for my fellow humans now? Yeah, the 9th house, Libra energy. I love this. And the Sun. The balance. This is the justice. You did the work. You spent the time, and the spiritual submission is what I'm hearing. So, that could be working on your faith. That could be doing spiritual rituals. That could be just spending time in prayer and meditation. Whatever it is that you did that made you feel like you were connecting spiritually. What Source is saying is like you came into spiritual submission and you trusted the process and you gained a lot of wisdom and knowledge from that. This is also for some of you, instead of focusing on your enemies, you just focused on the task at hand. So maybe that was school, maybe that was becoming a lawyer or paralegal, maybe that was studying, maybe that was learning everything that you could, maybe that was going on adventures and traveling and doing the things that were best for you. And, whatever that is, it's like you were focusing on you. And because of that, this is that karmic justice coming in where it's like now you're being seen for this fair, kind-hearted, compassionate soul. And people want to get advice from you and they want to get guidance from you. They want to be in your energy because you're a leader. Leading the masses here with the Sun. And again, it doesn't have to be the masses, right? That could be one person. It could be inspiring people you've never met. It could just be inspiring people at the grocery store. It's just you standing out, letting yourself be seen with the Peacock energy here. Where before I feel like you were blending in with Chameleon coming in on the underneath that. It says stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous and attempting to direct the course of events. This is what they thought. They thought that if they treated you in a certain way enough times that you would stay a chameleon, you would stay blending in. And I do feel like you have a natural, why do I hear that song? Come a chameleon. right? Like, I feel like you have a natural tendency to blend in, but you're also learning how to be yourself in situations without relying on blending in. And these enemies of yours really thought that you would start to really rely heavily on that blending in and not standing out, because being seen, they wanted you to believe that you being authentic and being seen is why they treated you that way, when they just saw your potential. And that's why they became your enemy. They saw your potential and they didn't want you to outdo them. But here with this combination of dice, we see Source saying this is karmic justice for you. And, you know, taking that as you will. It's not about like, oh my gosh, they're getting it bad and you're getting it good. It's literally saying you went through HE double hockey stick and you made it out unscathed. And now you're being seen for the transformation that you've gone through. That you're this fair and charismatic person, you're kind-hearted, you're gentle, and I feel like your enemies are now being seen for the gossiping energy that they hold, how they're superficial, they're judgmental, they lack depth, right? And people are now seeing the amount of depth that you have as a person, and that whatever these individuals said, it was just completely wrong. So let's get some more on this. We're going to use the Osho Zen. So Source, their enemies severely underestimated my fellow humans. What more would you like to tell them today? Yeah, we're bringing you into this place of harmony, peace, and tranquility. Look, and we got trust, right? We've got trust. Like, you've trusted the process. Didn't I say that with the 9th house here? That energy, it's like you took the fall. This to me is a trust fall. It's like Source said, don't worry, I'll catch you. And at first you might have been scared, but it's like, is it really worse than what I've been going through with these people? And you decided that it wasn't. And in doing so, taking the leap, now you trust the process. And this is the page, I believe this is the Page of Cups. You're getting something in return. You're getting that love back to you from Source. You're getting that back to you in abundance and in blessings. And it's because you're trusting the process, right? Relying. What did I say? That spiritual submission. It's hard to be in that place of spiritual submission without the trust. Yeah, look, the 9 of Coins. Yeah, you can't, like the 10 of Cups, the 9 of Coins. This is what Source is saying. You went through the fire. You were transformed into something different, into something new, into something more aligned with your highest good. And now we're bringing you this physical abundance, right? And that could be a home, a new job, a promotion, more money. That could be financial freedom, financial independence, love, children. You know, it could be a family, soul tribe. It could be anything that is physical in this world that you've been asking for, praying for. And Source wants you to have peace of mind. It is coming to you no matter who was your enemy. Let's not focus on that, because they were your enemy and you still defeated them just by being you. And you're stepping up into this place of leadership, and you're stepping up into this place of power. And they underestimated you because they did not know that you were a servant to Source. They did not know that you came to do Source's will. They did not understand the power that comes from that. And when we talk about power, this is not about a debilitating power. This is about the soft, subtle power that comes like a thief in the night, that gently whispers to those of us who want to change but don't know how. And then when we hear the whispers, we choose to trust. We choose to trust those whispers. We choose to trust that intuition. We choose to trust that Source is going to take care of us, right? When we think that, oh, being a child of Source or being one of Source's chosen, right? Everybody can be a chosen. Like, every person on the face of the planet has the opportunity to be the chosen. The thing that makes someone who's chosen different from someone who's not chosen is answering the call. That's it. That's it. You answered the call while these other people, your enemies, were busy trying to spread rumors about you, trying to spread gossip on you, trying to make you seem like a bad person, trying to slander your name. You know, they were so busy trying to make you seem like the bad guy that they pushed the ball too far, and now they're being seen as the bad people. Like, there's no going back from that. They've ruined their own reputation because they tried to ruin yours. And you can't compete against silent consistency. You know what? Well, those people talk a lot and they're real loud. They're real loud. Maybe for a time people believe that, but eventually one day you're going to open the door and walk out a changed person. And there is no denying the amount of hard work that went into what you did. And that's where you're coming to. Like, there is no denying the amount of hard work that you have done to become who you are today. They could talk all that they want. At the end of the day, they're just making themselves look like more of a fool because you are being represented by Source, right? Source is using you to be a testimony in this journey. And you are being brought into a place where you're having this mind-heart connection. You're coming into a place of peace, balance, and harmony. And all those seeds that you planted, they're ripe for the picking. Ripe for the picking. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for you, all because you chose to stay consistent to the journey. And there may have been times when you faltered. That's natural. That's part of the human experience. It's hard to go through stuff like this and not feel like there's something innately wrong with us, or like we are the problems, because we're hearing it consistently, or recognizing these rumors, or we're getting angry. We're letting our anger lead us, right? But no matter what, like, even when those moments arose, you still faced them with courage and bravery and still did your best to not let them become the whole of who you are. And that's the difference. It's like these people are dipped. That's what they're saying. They're dipped in the syrup or the molasses of slander. So it's like they couldn't slander your name. They're going to move on to the next person who they think they can. It was never personal. That's the thing. And it might feel personal. You might be like, well, geez, that felt real personal. It's easy to make real personal. It is. But if it was someone else who showed your amount of potential, they would have done the same thing. And that's why it's not personal. It's just whoever they feel is in their way, that's the next person who's going to get attacked. Illumination. Yeah, you've been illuminated. Enlightenment. You become enlightened. And it's a constant awakening, and I feel like you're always lifting your level to the next step, the next stair, the next ladder rung, whatever you want to call it, the next level. Right? You're always moving higher and higher. No one can keep up with you. The only people who can keep up with you are the people who've been on the journey. Guilt. Yeah. I release any belief that no longer assists in my soul's growth. So you may have felt guilt when these people were doing this, or feeling guilty that you called them your enemy. I feel like you're a really sweet soul. I feel like you see the good in people. And to call someone an enemy it's almost like, that's really heavy. It's almost like saying you hate someone, right? Like, that's a really heavy word to say, and I feel like that just feels like it rubs you wrong. And it's like, to really say someone is my enemy, it's because they showed you time and time again that they really were not for you. And it's like, even still, it's not something you're always telling people, oh, that's my enemy, that's my enemy. It's like you just kind of hold that in your mind, and you're like, okay, I don't want to tell everybody this, but that's where we're at. And so I feel like you're just this really sweet soul that's, yeah, you've taken it personal, but you're also someone who wants to see the good in everybody. And it's been really hard to come into that reality that no matter how much we want to see the good in everybody, not everybody wants to give us the best or the good parts of themselves. And that's hard. That's really hard, especially when someone naturally wants to see the love and the light from another person, which is what we are at our core. But sometimes we can see that, and we can see that that exists in a person, while at the same time drawing away from toxic behaviors. And I feel like that's where you're at. Look, relationships, exactly. I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. And this is not about gaining something either. This has been about you attracting people who are on the same level as you. Because for so long, you've been entertaining people who are at lower vibrations. And I feel like this has been why the guilt has been running so deep. And it's like they really thought they were going to win. And maybe there was a time when they did win over you, but they're not in control anymore. And you've made that abundantly clear to them. And it's left them feeling like they don't have anything to go back on. Fusion, yeah, align, openness, harmonize, and collaboration. You're coming into alignment. That's like, there's no getting around that. You're coming into an aligned version of yourself. With these flip over, the first one was ignore, focus, detox, and overlook. So I do feel like you had to ignore these people. We have a lot of orange here. You had to do a lot of sacral chakra healing and honoring how you felt. We have yield, force, concede, surrender, and accept. Yeah, this is what had happened is they were trying to force you to concede your journey, and you ended up surrendering and accepting where you were, and this forced them into hiding. We have cheating, concealment, and misleading. So they did their best to really make it seem like you were the problem here when you never were the problem. I feel like I want to get this one first. We've got surrender. Right, surrender twice here. Surrender coming out twice. I can release my need for control. Again, sacral chakra healing here. It's very heavy in your reading. Caution. You've learned to take caution when it comes to connections, which you should. You shouldn't just let anybody in. You know, sometimes we have to remind ourselves, like, there are people out there who really don't have my best interests at heart, but it doesn't mean that every person in the world is like that. There are people who do want you to succeed, and this has caused you a lot of anxiety. So going hand in hand with the guilt, a lot of anxiety, feeling disconnected from yourself, from your higher purpose. They were a threat, feud, natural enemy, or deadly threat. We were talking about that. I love that this card came out, not for the fact that it's a threat, but for the fact that what the topic of this reading is, and we have natural enemy coming through. So it is Source saying it's like this happened, and it created a lot of distrust in you. It created a lot of anxiety. It created a lot of feelings, but you know, they wanted to force you into hiding. They wanted to force you into concealment. They wanted to mislead you down a different path because they didn't want to see you succeed. But something happened, and it's like, you know, diamonds are created under pressure, and you became this amazing, unmistakable energy. You know, there's no hiding. You just can't hide the energy that you have. And then we have like terrific, exactly, fantastic results, greatness, and great moments. Like, I love that. You have a threat and terrific, right? So it's like they tried to harm you, but the end result was they forced you into a situation to be transformed under all that pressure. It doesn't mean you deserved it, but you made the absolute most of a bad situation and became your absolute best because of that. Let's see what this card is. Zebra. Let go of your fear and know that you are safe and protected at all times. All right, let's read this from the book. I love that because it's like just that reminder that no matter what's going on, you're absolutely protected. It says, whenever you venture into unfamiliar territory, it's quite natural to feel some trepidation. Your mind can create all sorts of scenarios as to what can go wrong. Doubts and uncertainties may arise, and the path can seem fraught with challenges and sometimes even danger. You might find yourself stuck at times, fearful about moving ahead, yet much of what we label as fear isn't actually fear. True fear is a vital, instinctual response to any life-threatening situation and is triggered not only by circumstances or events, but even more so by what you think about those circumstances or events. Stay relaxed, yet vigilant, trusting that nothing can truly harm you and that your body will provide sensory information if there is any actual danger. If there truly is any threat, again, this threat, then your instincts will tell you what to do. Whenever you feel an exaggerated sense of fear triggered mainly by your thoughts, one that has little or no bias in reality, take a few slow, deep breaths. Call upon spirit helpers who provided their guidance and protection before. Reach out to close friends and family members for reassurance and help you feel grounded and centered. Recall those times in the past when you did feel frightened or were endangered and not only survived, but came through intact. You can also relabel fear and instead call it excitement, as the two emotions are very similar in the way they manifest in the body. Most of all, trust your spirit guides, your instincts, and your friends to watch out for you. The associations here: protection, guardianship, alertness, kind-heartedness, compassion, individuality, compromise, challenge, analysis, illusion, magic, sure-footedness, confidence, changes, and agility. And I love that that's coming out, because that's what I was saying. You're a very kind-hearted person. I said that, and here we have the zebra with kind-heartedness and compassionate. We see that, and because of that, that puts you in challenging situations before you knew how to stand in your power. And now that you're standing in your power, you're no longer subject to those challenges of people who are threatened by your energy, or who are threatened by your greatness, or who are just threatened by you standing in your power. Now you're able to see them because you've used so much caution and you've trusted the process, and that I know I'm being protected, and listening to your instincts, listening to your innate intuition. Now you know you can walk away from situations that aren't going to serve your highest good, or that aren't going to work in synergistically with your energy, right? So now you can walk away from those and no longer feel like you're going to be harmed. And even if somebody is like, oh, well, you know what? They walked away from me. They did this, blah, blah, blah. You know, be like, it's fine if they feel hurt. I can understand why they feel hurt. But also, they might not have a reason to be hurt when this connection was very shallow. It was very brief, right? So it's something that you're no longer taking so personal. And you've grown from that. And that's a very powerful place to be at. I love this for you. I'm so sorry that you had to deal with people like this. It is a part of this journey. It is a part of this life. But no one deserves to have to handle people like this. But ultimately, I do pray that you are seeing how much you've grown, and that you're also proud of yourself for coming as far as you have, because you truly have. But this is what I see here for you. If you feel like this is your message, leave the little peacock emoji down below and say, I choose to let myself stand out and be seen, knowing that I'm protected, and seeing my power for the strength that it truly exudes. And if this resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box, because it has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. With that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, and a special shout out to the animal guides for coming through today. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here, but until next time, stay human. Bye.